Hey guys, just really quick shout out to our guy London for that dope intro for the Hardcore Sports Network. Shout out to our guy London. But welcome guys to the Pick and Roll Podcast episode number 74. I'm here with my guys Coach Ed Glanny, Nikki Steed, Next Shift Randy, and Rios from the Just Fans Podcast. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Fantastic.
Doing good? How'd you guys like that
Very
intro?
phenomenal. It's nice.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Shout out to
on Sunday. It was fire. It's fire.
Yeah, we got an intro. So, Rios, I'll be texting Carlos if he wants that for his StreamYard. I'll be texting him. So if he wants it, good. I know you guys have a good one too. Your friends did the music for that.
Yeah.
There you go. That was good. That was good. Yep. And Blaze is in the chat. What is up, Blaze? Feel better, man. Feel better, my guy.
Feel better, brother.
Hey,
You
there'll
feel
be
better,
better
man.
days, Blaze. There'll be better days.
Yep. All right. Let's get this started. This broke yesterday, so it's not really on our topics of shows, but the Lakers are zeroing in on JJ Redick being their head coach. They knocked out all the other competition, and it's going to be JJ Redick. So let's start with Nikki. How do you feel about this, man? JJ Redick, probably going to be the head coach of the Lakers.
At the moment, I'm like, let's wait and see, because we all know who's really going to be calling the shots with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Assuming that he's back, we all know it's going to still be LeBron's team,
Mm-hmm.
which has been the case since 2019, since summer 2019.
Yep.
All the big decisions get made through him. So even if LeBron comes back, JG Redick's the coach, what input is he really going to have as LeBron's there? Because it's still going to go through him. And I don't know what he's going to do yet as a coach, man. We haven't seen yet. So this is his first opportunity to prove if he can do something or not as a head coach.
I mean, there's better coaches out there, in my opinion. But what do I know? I'm a guy who does podcasts. What do I know? So we're going to go with Randy. How do you feel about JJ Redick?
Well, Nikki kind of like led with it, and he's got no experience when it comes to coaching. But when I did listen to him call games, the guy knows a thing or two about running some offenses, and obviously who needs to go through who has the ball has to go through. Sorry, and it's kind of interesting, obviously, because he's got a podcast with LeBron. So, would that be the end of that if he does become the head coach? Because little bit of conflicting interest when it comes to like being your head coach and then like being a buddy on the side. Like, not saying that you can't do it, but it just would be really odd. And then like Nikki said, we all know who's going to be running the show there. So
Yep. Rios?
Kind of head scratching because, like you mentioned, there's better coaching candidates out there. Guys, me and him have the same coaching experience, 0. And it feels like that whole podcast with LeBron was just an interview to be the coach, because we know it's his team. He's going to be calling all the shots, making the roster decisions and all that. And Jay just gets there to be his mouthpiece, essentially. I don't get it. Like, doesn't feel like they're serious about winning. It feels like they're just out there to appease LeBron, be about showtime or whatever. But like, I don't get it at all.
I don't, man. And Coach, how do you feel about JJ Redick? We talked about it a little bit.
This for me is strange. You're going to go to a guy with no coaching experience from a guy who, you know what? He had coaching experience even before he was a Lakers coach. He was an assistant in the NBA. So he really knew the ins and outs. Now, I'm not saying Redick doesn't have some concept of what goes on in the NBA, but it just leaves me a little baffled. And like you guys are hitting, perception is reality. Like, he's going to be a puppet for LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm being harsh by saying that, but yeah, it doesn't, for me, it's not a good look. Now, I'm not saying he might not be a good coach. he might end up being a phenomenal coach. I mean,
Right.
I'm not going to take that from him. He's smart. He played under a great head coach in college in Coach K, so he understands basketball. So I'm going to give him that. But you really didn't cut your teeth on anywhere in the NBA. So, and then you have a podcast with LeBron, and now you're in position to be the head coach. Also, how is that going to make AD feel? Honestly, how is that going to make AD feel? How is it going to make the other guys on the team feel towards LeBron, towards Redick? Is he really going to command respect? Is he going to command respect throughout the league? I mean, it's a strange one. I mean, it's not like it hasn't happened in the past, and I get it, but I'm personally, if I was a Laker fan, I would not be comfortable. I would not be happy with this. And plus, how much longer is LeBron going to be there? 2 years. So you're going to does this mean that he's going to be here for 2 years and then he's going to be out the door? Because you might end up having to strip everything down and redo it. Not saying they are. They may try and reload. I get it, but it's just too much for me with this. It leaves too many questions for me, and it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as all you guys. It doesn't feel right. I really think he should stay away. He has a great thing going. His own podcast, ESPN. He calls games for ABC. He's got a lot of stuff going for him right now, and it's great. Keep on doing that. I mean, he's one of those guys that will speak his mind and just show everyone, no, this is not the way. This is the way you got to do it. Like what he did calling out Glenn Rivers on that episode of First Take. Like for me, honestly, it doesn't feel right, but it's just like it's LeBron at the end of the day. And JJ Redick, I was watching a clip of his podcast with LeBron, and it was just like they were drawing up plays on the clipboard, and I'm like, is this really what's going to happen? In clutch time, JJ Redick's going to go to LeBron in the huddle and be like, here, draw up the play for us.
Yep.
LeBron needs someone that can say no to him. They'll be like, this is my team. You guys listen to me. This is how this goes. When that happens, you succeed. When you let LeBron go and do it, it's just like the other players are like, I'm not playing for him. He's my teammate. Yes, he's up there in the greatest players of all time, but I'm not playing for him. I'm playing for you. And I want to learn what you have to draw for us in this scenario. So, without further ado, I'm just like, it's only a matter of time now. It's only a matter of time. And it's probably going to happen, my guess, by Friday this week. And if you're listening on Spotify, it is Wednesday, June 5th. So my guess will be Wednesday, June 7th, or Friday, June 7th, excuse me. So that's when I think JJ Redick's going to become the head coach. I would not be surprised if it's today. As soon as we end this podcast, check your phones. It might happen. So,
Right.
it's just insane. I don't know. Who was the last player who was a coach and played? I'm pretty sure we talked about that in a couple episodes ago. But
It wasn't Bill Russell. Well, no. Yeah.
Player coach, yeah. Bill Russell comes to mind.
Yeah,
was
Bill
somebody
Russell.
else.
Was it Magic?
No, Magic was not a player coach. He was retired by the time he coached.
Oh. So I guess it's Bill Russell then.
No, I'm looking.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up now.
Yep. What is up, Spongy? How's it going, man? Thank you for stopping by. But really quick, as Coach is looking for this, just new podcast alert starting tomorrow, Thursdays at 7 p.m. If you guys are a huge fan of WNBA, Coach Ed, Next Shift Randy, and Nick of Sleeper Sports Media, Full Court Press, every Thursday night at 7. So if you guys are fans of WNBA and everything that's going on over there, that's your podcast to tune in. Oh, really?
Dave Cohen, yeah, with the Celtics, 1978-79 season.
Oh man!
Wow.
He
I
ended
did
up
not expect that.
relinquishing. He ended up relinquishing his coaching duties to still focus on his playing career after that. But he was the last one.
45 years.
hmm
Was he like injured or something? Is that why he became a coach? It's just like just
No,
out of blue, just like
no,
I'm a coach.
I guess they gave him the opportunity to be the coach as well as still playing, but then he decided to just give up his player. I mean, let me look. It didn't say list of player coaches. Yeah, it doesn't say. Yeah, it's not telling me who. Yeah, it just says he was the last one. I'd have to
All right.
research more. Go ahead. You go ahead. Go on. I'm looking at his history.
Okay. The player coach was for many decades a long-term fixture in professional basketball. Many notable coaches in the NBA served as player coach, including Bill Russell and Lenny Wilkens. Lenny Wilkens too? Oh wow!
Ooh,
I
I
did
mean,
not
back
expect
then,
that either.
there's a
this is some of these
bombshell.
guys had part-time jobs on the side also. I mean, different times.
Yeah, remember player salaries back then weren't as enormous as they are now.
Yeah,
Like, that's why they pay these coaches millions of years. That's their job to coach the players, draw up the plays, build the team chemistry. It's not a player's job to do the coach's job.
Yeah, Cowens, after the 78-79 season, he just quit to focus on being a full-time player. So that's it.
Oh, and it blaze here. The last player to serve as an official assistant coach was Tree Rollins for Orlando Magic. My God, that's a name. I haven't heard of Tree Rollins in a while during the of course, during the year I was born. So perfect. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Here.
So, if you really think about it, even though that's the official, every team still usually has. I mean, look at Udonis Haslem. Udonis Haslem technically was a player coach.
Yeah,
he really was. It's just that everyone respected him for what he brought to the table as a player, and they looked at him as a player, but he was still a coach, which is why he moved up into an executive position right off the bat too. Once he retires, so every team, I think most teams, not every team, most teams has someone like that who's a deep vet who is going to end up being a coach, and he's still a current player. So
yeah. And according to Blaze, he's your Google assistant for the day, for the show. I appreciate that, Google. I appreciate that. And according to Brunsey was at the Eagles minicamp today. Okay. Thank you for that heads up.
About Lord Brunson.
I mean, yeah, I know he's already said he's an Eagles fan. So, Knicks fans, we don't care about that. We'll just get on the court and do your job for the Knicks.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But now,
look, guys. Seriously, when you really think about it, all players are fans growing up of whoever. Another sports team. When they get into sports, they get drafted. Yeah, ultimately, they would love to get drafted by their favorite team. We all know that. But they also understand the business. Now, if they're a fan of another sport, it's not going to take away from them being a fan of, like Brunson being an Eagles fan. Real fans don't give two craps about that. I mean, you really don't. I mean, how many players have had tattoos of a team on their body, if it's another sport? Okay. I get it. You guys are younger, and it to you, it's a big thing. As an old grizzly, fat, sexy guy, I don't care about that, man. All I care about when you're on the basketball court for my team, are you giving me maximum effort and trying to help the team win? If you are, it's all good.
Yep. And Spongy, I appreciate this. I'm
a Celtics fan. I don't care if he's a Boston Celtics fan or not. It's got nothing to do with his football play.
It's just like
being a Cowboys fan. That's a different sport, so it doesn't.
Oh, speaking of AI, Coach, I got your tweet. He had an OBJ sign him. That was great. I was like, oh wow.
What does that show you? They're still fans of the game and of different players. So he's not going to just focus in on he's a fan of strictly Philly players or whatever the case may be. No, he's a fan, and he likes OBJ, and he wanted his autograph on a poster. And hey, do you, bro? I'm not mad at you.
I'm not mad at all. I found it great.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the breakfast room with my dad, and I was like, Dad, look, OBJ getting Allen Iverson's getting an autograph from OBJ, and he's like, OBJ is in Miami, so that makes sense. I'm like, Dad, it is what it is. But yeah. So Spunsy, I'm gonna go more in depth on Donovan Mitchell with the Sixers probably tomorrow or Friday on Sixers Alert. But I really appreciate that. The Lakers, Heat, Nets, Pelicans, Sixers will attempt to acquire Donovan Mitchell if he doesn't extend with the Cavs.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, the Cavs are just stuck. They have to decide between Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. For me, they're not really stuck. They just need to keep Donovan Mitchell. Trade Darius Garland. Trade him. You got to keep Donovan Mitchell there. Yeah, what is up, Charlie? What is up? Thank you for stopping by. And Blaze is in the chat. So, yeah. And actually, at the end of the month, it's the NBA draft. The NBA draft is at the end of the month, and it's in 2 nights. The NBA draft is 2 nights this year. So I'm going to start with Coach here. How do you feel about that?
There ain't no big thing to me. He's 2 nights is 2 nights. All right. Hey.
I'm right there with you.
It's 2 nights.
I'm right there with you.
Whoop-de-doo. It's 2 nights.
I know. People are like over-exaggerating with this. And I'm like, okay. I find the NBA draft more... NBA draft is my thing. The NFL draft is like for Coach and everyone who's a diehard in football. I'm diehard in basketball. So, yeah. So, Nikki, how do you feel about the NBA draft being 2 nights?
It is what it is. I mean, they want to do it a second night for more ratings. That's all power to them. It's not going to make a difference to me.
Correct. Rios?
I don't, like Blaze said in the comments, this is about the money. But I personally, I don't get it. Especially starting it this year. This is one of the weakest draft classes in a decade. I think outside of the top 10, most people aren't going to know who any of these guys are. And the day 2 guys, half of them probably end up in the G League. I don't see the point of making it 2 nights.
Well, I'm going to say one thing. It's about the money, business, and all that. Let's be real. It's about Bronny James. Wherever he gets drafted, if it's in the first night, the second night, wherever, they're gonna talk about this for years and years and years. So I think that's the reason why, other than money in the business. It's about Bronny. But are they gonna keep on going with this? Are they gonna do this for next year and a year after and a year after? Or is it just like the one-time thing with Bronny? Like, if it's a one-time thing, then okay, but yeah, I don't know.
I have a feeling it's going to be a one-time thing because there's like with the NFL it being 3 days because you have 7 rounds. The NBA draft is 2 rounds. You could literally do them in one night.
Yeah. So, Randy, how do you feel about the NBA draft being 2 nights? Randy? Can't hear you, man. Oh, you got my headset? Hey! Appreciate that. And yeah, Arku, diehard fans are going to watch round 2. Yeah, I'm going to stream both of them. So I'm really excited for this. Really excited for both drafts here. But I just think it's mostly about Bronny. That is it. Who's else is like the most popping name out there?
If you're doing it
Alex
1
Starr?
year, if you're doing it 1 year, to me that's a slap in the face. That now that makes it even worse. To do it just 1 year, you can't do it 1 year, bro. You just can't. You can't. You have to give it some time. If this is your vision to say, let's see how we can generate more money, which I understand, I get it. To do it 1 year, come on, man. Come on, that's stupid business. I mean, Commissioner Silver, you're a smart man. You're an Ivy League man. You know that makes no sense. You're probably gonna tick off business sponsors to do it in 1 year. I mean, it makes it look like I've already said the wrong thing. You're trying to appease LeBron James, and that's really it. But you know what? Stop sucking him off. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I didn't want to go.
I mean, you're not wrong. Honestly, that's what it does feel like. It's like they're just trying to appease. I'm like, I get Clutch. Clutch Sports has a lot of pull around the league, but like, come on, man, like stretching the draft out to 2 nights, like, especially with this draft. If they wanted to start it last year, which was a much deeper draft class, hey, that would have made more sense because you have more guys people actually know about. This year, like, it's honestly outside the top 10, your average NBA fan won't know who's who.
Right.
Exactly.
And actually, Rio, since your Rockets have the 3rd overall pick, how would you feel about trading that for Mikal Bridges?
It seems too high, honestly, for me.
Okay.
I wouldn't trade. Even in the draft this week, I wouldn't trade it for Mikal Bridges. I'd rather they just develop their young core. If they want to trade, like, say someone like Dylan Brooks to create space for those, like a guy like Cam Whitmore or Tari Eason to get into the start lineup, I'd be okay with that. But trading it for him because he doesn't really move the needle. He's a good NBA player, but he's not like a Donovan Mitchell that's gonna possibly push you into like contention status. He is the way that he's been overvalued this last couple of years is ridiculous. Honestly, like I don't get it. I don't see it. He's a great 3rd guy, but like they treat him like he's like one of the elites in the NBA. Like he's not worth the number 3 overall. He's not worth the number 3 overall pick, even in a weak draft class. At least
snuck in the play-in tournament and possibly the playoffs if he was really that guy.
Right. And once you look at Mikal Bridges and what Memphis Grizzlies offered, they offered him 4 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, and Brooklyn what was that? Brooklyn turned that down?
Mm-hmm.
They're really focused on making him a star, but he is not the star of that team. It's Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas is the number 1 option. Mikal Bridges is number 2. So me and my friend got in a huge debate about that what was that, last week? Yeah. I'm not even getting into that, but
he's like you said, he's a solid number 3 on a contender, number 2 on a younger team, but like with the way the Rockets improved in 1 year, like it doesn't make sense to try to trade players and give them a draft pick just to get Mikal Bridges, which like I saw one of the graphs that said adding him to the roster with like trading a couple players and some picks like gets you like maybe 3 or 4 extra wins. I'm like, nah, not worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I love Mikal Bridges. We had him for like 2 minutes. Then we traded him to the Suns, and now he's on Brooklyn. So we had him for literally 2 minutes. Yeah. Oh, thank you for that, Spunsy. Vetso and Wembanyama are the only untouchable players on the Spurs. Thank you.
They're not trading Wembanyama.
Oh,
I'm
no.
shocked. Wow. In other shocking news, water is wet.
Yeah. And talking about the draft, actually, Topic has a torn ACL, which sucks. I had him going to the Spurs at 4 or whatever. I had him going in top 10. Man, that sucks. He's gonna fall flat.
Why?
Definitely.
Why? He tore his ACL. You might just say you might give him a year off. Okay, fine, but
yeah,
nowadays ACLs is not like that detrimental. It's everyone gets has an ACL, and you still come back. And so if you believe in his talent, you still take him. Now, if you're saying that across the board, there's somebody who's equal to him, and you can you can play him a year earlier. Okay, I get that, but if you really believe in the kid's talent, you just take him. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. It's like what the Sixers did with Embiid. Like, remember, it took Embiid like what, 2 years, and then boy, they did that with Ben Simmons. Did that work out? No. So it's just like, yeah, man, what's wrong with StreamYard today? StreamYard is acting pretty weird.
Well,
But
what's happening?
no, it's nothing. It's like whenever you see the click for more comments, it's becoming one with the chat. So I'm like trying to find it, but oh yeah, it's Spongy. The Knicks are looking to trade the first round picks in the upcoming draft.
I
How
just
do you
got
feel
a
about
tweet.
that?
I just got a tweet that they're not.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I'll send it to you right now. Wait a minute, let me find it.
Yeah, that was the last thing I saw from my guy Jake Fisher. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a
There
lot of
it
teams are
is.
looking to trade down because the guy they want to probably be there if they trade down. Like we've mentioned multiple times, the last few weeks, this is a pretty weak draft class.
It really is.
Outside of
It
the
really
top
is.
three, I mean, basically the top two are, potential guys that could be someone. After that is, you're, building your bench, and that's crazy. We're talking about a lottery pick. Is going to be, a bench player, but that's
That
where
helps
most of
the
these
Sixers
guys
a lot.
project.
That helps the Sixers a lot if it actually happens. But the Cavaliers are in sec. Yep, Brandon Ingram. Yep. Thank you for all this. Get it. Prime time is in the building. What is up, prime time? So,
Check your phone, Mitch. I just sent it
got
to
it.
you.
Got it. Let me see. Oh, all right. Cool. Thank you for that. I'll check it out in a bit. Let's see. All right, for the NBA Finals, who's a better second option? Everyone's talking about Tatum and Luka. Who's better, Brown or Irving? Like for the circumstances, you can make an argument for Jaylen Brown. Honestly, you can. But let's start with Nikki here. I think I know where you're going with.
I mean, as of now, it is Kyrie because he's been there as a second option before with LeBron. And to be fair, that was where he was at his best as a player. He was a great second option for LeBron, the second best second option for him behind Dwayne Wade. And he played a key role in that 2016 Game 7 win as well. Don't discount that with some of those shots he was making. So Kyrie has a track record of being able to perform in the finals as a second guy. Now, Brown, he's been really good for them for the regular season, but he hasn't helped the team get over that hump yet. And now you see Kyrie's coming back into that role of being more that accepting being that second guy, and it's working out great for the Mavericks. And they actually made a push to the finals.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's still pretty close. You could go either way because Jaylen Brown's been excellent as a second guy too. He's helped out with Tatum a lot. Sometimes you see Brown putting up 30, 40 points from time to time as well. And even this year, he's played a key role for him throughout this playoffs. And even he thinks that he might be better than Tatum. And sometimes, and that's an interesting question. That's a whole other debate in itself. Who's the real number one guy? That could be a whole other debate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd say now it's Kyrie.
Yeah. We're gonna go with a coach here.
To be honest with you, I have never looked at Jaylen Brown as a second option. I've always looked at him as the first option because Tatum has not really led that team. There have been too many times that Jaylen Brown is the one that's producing and trying to lead that team in clutch situations, and Tatum is nowhere to be found for me. Maybe I'm just too blind. It's just that I don't see. So in reference to your question, Kyrie is the number 2 because Jaylen Brown to me is the number 1. So he's not a number. And I know everyone else, and I know the Celtics, they have him as the number 2 in the pecking order, and I get it. But for me, if I was the coach, everything would go through Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. If I could trade him and get assets, I would. Because to me, he's not a number 1. He's not. He's a number 2.
I agree with that. And Rios?
No, you guys hit the nail on the head. Got to go with Kyrie because this past postseason, Jalen's been outplaying Tatum. Tatum has the name recognition, but Jalen's been carrying him. And Kyrie, he's been there before. Like he's been one of the league's best Robins. if you want to call him that. Like, he's been a great number 2. Like you saw with Cleveland, they were hoping to have that in Brooklyn. Didn't work out that way. Same thing with Boston. But I think you found a good running mate with Luka, and I think their dynamic and their chemistry, which, before the season started, a lot of guys questioned could they coexist, both very ball dominant guards, but they have found a way to make it work, and they have not been liabilities on defense, which is, refreshing to see, because that's been one of the knocks on both those guys, really. To the majority of their careers, their defense, but they've been stepping up this postseason. It should be a good one because both good defensive teams, so I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, basically, Kyrie is definitely the better number 2 right now.
The reason I asked it for being a number 2, because like what Coach said, Tatum's being labeled as his number 1, but I got to go with everyone here that said that Jaylen Brown is actually the number 1. You have Celtics fans, Celtics content creators who actually told me that they wanted to trade Tatum for the longest time because Tatum doesn't step up in the big moments. That's where Brown signs Derek White, Drew Holiday. Jason Tatum, he's got you know what? I'm going to make a football comparison here. Let me know if I'm off. The Boston Celtics are like the San Francisco 49ers with what's the quarterback's name? Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy.
So I think it's like a perfect system for Tatum to succeed. But I really think that Brown is the number 1. And he's the highest paid player in NBA history. He deserves every single penny of that. So I got to go with Brown. But as I was listening to LeBron James's and JJ Redick's podcast, each one of those guys on the Celtics can lead the team. And those other guys are great off ball. So Tatum doesn't really have to try. He doesn't have to really do anything. So it's just like, I'm going with Brown here. All right, number 1, but Kyrie Irving is the number 2. Tatum equals Dak.
That's a great one. I would agree with that.
Yeah. They both don't step up when it matters most. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, they perform phenomenal against the lesser teams, and then against, teams just as good or a little bit better, they just disappear.
Yeah. Dak isn't a problem. It's
not
Jerry.
On the field. See, the thing is, on the field, if you're talking about business-wise and organizational structure, I'm with you, Arku.
Yeah.
But I'm looking strictly on the field. Jerry's not out there on the field playing. That's Dak. Is Dak leading that team to play consistent playoff wins and championships? I'm sorry, the answer is no. And you're paying him like a top player in the league. Well, he's supposed to get 60-something million this year, or 60 million. Come on, man.
Something like that, yeah.
Give him a lifetime contract, please.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So, yeah, with that, I think we all came in agreement. It's Kyrie Irving. Brown. So, is Tatum overrated, or we do not go that far?
I would say he's overrated. I would say he's overrated. I think with him, it's just a name recognition thing, because he has not. What's his? All the great players, they had moments where they shine in the playoffs. Don't really have one for Tatum. Like, that's where you build your legacy, in the playoffs and in the finals. Yeah, you get to see that from him.
Overrated might be. It's difficult with him because he has the talent. He definitely has the talent to be an elite player and to lead a pro organization and to win championships. He's just not producing in those clutch moments. So yes, you could say he's overrated because he's not meeting his talent, his talent ability. But if you just say, is he talented? Is he that talented? Yeah. So then the overrating might be. It's hard. It's hard for me because I Blaze is right in I'm sorry, Rios is right in what he's saying for the most part, but I look at the talent and I'm like, the kid is uber talented, man. Why isn't he producing? That's what it is.
Yeah, Blaze said it perfectly right here.
Yes.
Tatum has better numbers than Jalen, but not by much. Jalen is more of a leader and showing up in big games, like you all said. Yes, the only time I could think of Tatum stepping up is when he dunked on LeBron. And what was that, his rookie year?
Yeah.
I think that's the last time I can ever remember Tatum stepping up.
One play dunking on LeBron. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Plenty of guys have done
I know,
that.
right? That's the only thing
I'm like, yo, do you step up in the clutch and do you hit those clutch shots? How many times he's had the ball in his hand at the last moment or in a crucial moment, and they needed him to make a play, and he doesn't. It's Jaylen Brown has done it way more than he has for me. That's me. That's me. I got my blinders on, so
my guy Melo said it perfectly.
I agree with Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Jalen, have you seen him take over in the fourth quarter when the team needed him to step up or someone to step up? And we haven't seen that from Tatum. He's never taken over in the fourth quarter or the clutch moments.
Right. So, Nikki, I want to hear your thoughts on this, man. Is Tatum overrated?
Yes, to a certain degree. Yeah, because we've seen it time and time again. They've gotten to the playoffs. They made a deep run, but it's only gotten them so far. Like, they haven't been able, Jason Tatum hasn't been able to give them that push. You see it throughout the years. You got against Milwaukee in the second round, 2019. Yeah, that was part Kyrie, but then 2020 against the Heat, they were favorites. And what happened? 2021, they fell off. Who did they lose to again when the 2021? Was it
Golden State?
No, 2021, the year Milwaukee won.
Oh.
Man, it feels like a lifetime ago.
It really does. Miami?
Yeah, I think they were. Oh, they lost to the Nets. They were the 7th.
Oh, it was the Nets. Yeah.
Yeah. They lost that series too. 22 in the finals against the Warriors. Then last year against the Heat. I mean, both times against the Heat, they were favorites, but they couldn't pull through and get the win. And Tatum was there each time he had the opportunity. It didn't happen. That's if we talk about NBA playoff chokers, guys like Karl Malone as one example, or even some people throw Embiid, or maybe someone like a Chris Paul in there or Harden. Well, we got to say Tatum now fits in a similar category unless he ends up winning something soon. David Robinson, too, was someone who was in that category, but those 2 chips at the end kind of moved him out of that territory. So Tatum's either he's going to be remembered like a Karl Malone or a Chris Paul or maybe a David Robinson where he gets a chip and that finally goes away, that stigma.
Yeah. And again, my guy Melo, he's not overrated, generally speaking, in my opinion. I think he's overlooked on his playmaking, but he is overrated as a pure scorer. Maybe the Celtics don't need him to be that. They really don't. But when push comes to shove, you look at your number one guy, you look at your max player, and it's just like, well, actually, your max player now is Jaylen Brown. So, okay, my chat tour is over. Yeah. Appreciate that, Blades. Appreciate that with everyone in the chat right now. And just a quick reminder, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we got the Full Court Press podcast with Nick of Sleeper Sports Media, Coach Ed Gladney, and Next Shift Randy. Sorry about that. But, yeah, just make sure you tune in tomorrow if you guys are WNBA fans. A lot of stuff to talk about in the WNBA. A lot. So, yep, appreciate that. He just needs to be a guy who can step up in big moments.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? This conversation is actually going to lead to another topic, so I'm going to skip over the next one. Who needs the championship more, Jason Tatum or Luka Doncic? At this rate, it looks like Tatum.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're all going to be in agreement on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I put that as a poll question on both my Twitter and my YouTube community tab. Who needs it more? I put it Tatum and Doncic. just their last teams. But yeah, that's a great question because I was thinking the same thing. But at this point, Tatum definitely to cement himself as a true elite player because Luka is already he's kind of in that regard without a chip. I mean, a chip will help him. He's kind of in that Peyton Manning territory before Peyton won that first Super Bowl where people already viewed him as a superstar even before that. And I see Luka in a similar category in the current NBA where he's already kind of a superstar without that chips. I mean, it'll still help him to get it, but Tatum certainly needs it more to be looked at in that same regard.
Because with Luka,
but go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, with Luka, he's won championships overseas in Spain with Real Madrid. Like he has that championship experience. Like he dominated over there, came here. Yeah, the chip will help him, but I don't think that's gonna, at least right now, it's not gonna hurt his legacy if he loses his first finals. For Tatum, this is gonna be his second finals, and they've been knocked out at the number 1 seed a couple times. And here, you're going against a team that's the number 5. They're 5 or 6 in the West.
Mm-hmm.
You're the heavy favorite, and if you lose this one, that's when the questions start to get a little bit louder about you.
Yep. And Coach, I think you're gonna go with Tatum, or am I wrong?
No, I'm with Tatum. I'm with Tatum because if the Celtics don't win, are they going to blow their team up? Who's going to be traded? Is it going to be Tatum? Is it going to be Jaylen Brown? I mean, is it head coach? So it's more, to me, he needs a championship right now. He really needs a championship. Being there quite a few times, how many times he's been to the finals? 2 times, I think?
This is the second time.
Oh, this is the second time. So, but, you've been in the finals a couple of times and not made it. So, to me, he needs that championship also to shut people like me up who are questioning him, who are saying he's overrated and he doesn't have that clutch gene. So, he needs it more than Luka. Luka is hitting plenty of clutch shots. Come on now. I mean, he just hasn't been to an NBA final, but he cemented himself as an NBA great, man. He really has. So, Tatum, for all his talent, he has more talent than Luka. Let's be real, more athleticism. Let me say that. And he's still not feared in a sense like Luka Doncic is. So, he needs a championship at least to quell everyone right now.
Yep. But you can actually make a case. Does Kyrie need this? Does Kyrie need it just to prove to the fact that he doesn't need LeBron to win, and he actually accepted the fact that that he has to be the number 2? He can't do anything as the number 1.
I mean,
you can make that argument as well.
If you want to go that route, then sure. But Kyrie already had. I mean, I get it. He won it with LeBron, but he still won. I get it. It's.
I mean, he's the one that hit the shot to win Game 7.
Yeah,
once LeBron hit that shot, it was him.
Yeah. So
I don't think it's anything to prove.
No. If you want to just say what's happened with Boston and the Nets, then okay, fine. I get where you're going, but ultimately, nah, I really don't see it that way.
Understandable. Nikki, how about you? How do you see this? Does Kyrie need this ring?
I don't think Kyrie necessarily needs it because he's already a star. I mean, another ring will certainly help complete his revenge story, but he's always going to be viewed as that great second option. I don't think this necessarily enhances it could enhance a little bit, but he's going to be remembered as that great second option now, I think, regardless of what happens in this finals. So I think Tatum's certainly got a bigger chip on his shoulder, and Luka, I think, needs it more than Kyrie.
Yeah. Yep. So, I think we're on the same terms there. So, who's the X factor for each team? The Mavericks and the Celtics. Who's the X factor for each team? I'm going to start with Rios on this one.
I think for the Celtics, it has to be Derek White.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be the difference. He's going to be the difference between them winning a championship or not. Because if he has a great finals, there's no way they should lose. And if Tatum, finally decides to show up, because we know Jaylen Brown's going to, get his in the clutch moments. But if Jason Tatum could step up and Derek White balls out too, I mean that's going to be tough for them to stop.
Yeah.
And then you also got Drew guarding Luka. That's probably one person who could probably keep up with him and slow him down a little bit. So I think I'm gonna go with a 1A, 1B as far as X factors for the Celtics. Those two guys. If those two guys really step up, it should be Boston in 6.
Yep. And then for the Mavericks, who's your X factor there?
Ooh,
I know you don't want them to win. I know you don't want them to win.
I don't. But I have to pick an X factor for them. Ooh. I think it's really going to come down to Kyrie. I don't know if it feels weird saying we've been saying he's the number 2 option, but I think he's going to have to. Because I think they're going to focus their game plan on stopping Luka. So he's really going to have to step up on both sides of the ball, not just on offense, but also on defense as well. Because Boston has a lot of firepower as well.
Right. And Nikki, how about you? X factors for the Celtics and Mavs. Oh, I like
that. The Celtics, like I already said yesterday, it's Derek White in this case. You see when he's on, he plays a difference factor. You've seen him game scoring 15, possibly 20 in some of their wins on the road to the finals. He's been a significant factor. If you want to talk about Tatum needing other guys to step up, well, Derek White is one of those guys that steps up and helps out too. But because he's not an established star on the team, he doesn't always get as much credit. And he can get you some assists too and some boards. Don't forget that. It's not just the points that he gets you as well. Now for Dallas, I'm going to go PJ Washington because we've seen at times in some of those difficult games on the road to the finals, he's not the top scorer, but he can still get you. If he gets you between like 11 and 16 scoring, that can be a big factor, especially some points off the bench or just, it takes a little bit of the weight off Luka and Kyrie and still help them stay in control of some of those tight games. That can make a difference there. Even if it's just like 12 points in a close game, those 12 points help make a difference. I think PJ Washington is definitely an X factor for the Mavs because he has been at times throughout this playoff run.
Yep. And coach.
Drew Holiday.
Always look at who's been the X factor on the road to the finals. Go ahead, coach.
I was just going to say Drew Holiday for Boston and Derek Lively for Dallas.
That was mine going to be for Dallas. That was mine, Derek Lively. Because we all knew that Luka and Kyrie are not the best defenders, but they drafted pretty much one of the best defensive big men in its draft class. And they put him right there, and you have Gafford there too. I'm going with Lively. And now for the Celtics, I'm not going to go Derek White. I'm not going to go Drew Holiday. I'm going to go with Kristaps Porzingis. I'm going to go with Kristaps here, just for his stressing ability, just for him, creating the space for everybody. And can they really guard? I guess they can guard Kristaps on the outside. But once he's on, he's on. So I'm going to go with Kristaps. Not a lot of people are talking about Kristaps Porzingis. I think Stephen A. Smith said, I can't believe I'm quoting Stephen A. here, but I think he said if the Mavs don't or the Celtics don't have Porzingis, they're not winning the finals. But I'm not going that far. But he is a big X factor. So I got to go with Porzingis there. And what is up, Albert? What is up? And Blaze's X factor is Drew Holiday. I miss Drew Holiday on the Sixers. Nikki, I miss him. I miss him on the Sixers, man. And how about the Milwaukee Bucks here? The Milwaukee Bucks traded Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard, and then Drew Holiday goes to the Celtics, and now he's in the finals and could perhaps win it.
Yep.
That is just crazy.
Yep.
So, Now, what are the storylines for this NBA draft or for this finals? What is the storylines? Nikki, I'll start with you. There's a lot of good storylines in this one.
Some of the storylines, I'm just going to name them off for now. We got Kyrie versus Boston, Porzingis road to redemption. Tatum and Brown's opportunity to shine. Luka's opportunity to complete his career cycle by winning a championship in the NBA, the biggest stage of basketball on planet Earth. With all due respect to all the other countries, but the NBA is the biggest one on planet Earth. That would be the completion of Luka's basketball journey, so to say, winning it in the NBA. So there's one right there. I mean, those are some of the main ones that come to mind.
Yep. Rios, any big storylines with this finals?
I think the biggest one's gonna be on Boston. Can they finally get it done? Because they haven't won a championship in 16 years now. And for Boston's one of the the NBA's legacy teams, and for them to go on that kind of drought, it's like when does the drought end? I think that's probably the biggest storyline. They can get it done, and then after that, would be Luka, like Nikki said with Luka, him completing his story, winning a championship in the NBA. He's won one overseas, now one in the NBA. I mean, not saying Hall of Fame just yet, but I mean he's on the right path at that point.
Yeah, this is one of mine. The Kyrie Irving revenge on Boston. That is one of mine. You could even go Jason Kidd, how he won a championship with the Mavericks as a player in 2011. Now he has the opportunity to win it as a coach with the Mavericks as well. So for me, I'm going with those two. And then, man, I guess I have to go with Jaylen Brown. I'm just going to go with Jaylen Brown because this is his time to shine. If they win and he's coming off of a Eastern Conference Finals MVP, which I think that is just like, why did they start that? But that's another conversation for another day. So, honestly, I'm going to go with all those. So, yeah. What is up, man? Thank you for stopping by. Really appreciate you. Hot take. The story of this NBA final could be something no one is expecting. You're pretty much right there. You're pretty much right on the money there, Blaze. I mean, I'm trying to think, what else could it be? Tim Hardaway? With his three-point shooting ability, maybe. That could be an X factor as well. Gordon Hayward. So I'm saying the final story of this series will be none of that we are discussing. It will be a surprise. I'm sorry, a guy who made excuses.
Up with it, Blaze.
Huh?
I said, go ahead, Blaze. Hit us up with it. What is the story?
What is up, Mike Sports Vibes? What is up? Mavericks, please beat the Celtics. That is true. Please beat the Celtics. So, speaking of that, we're going to go with finals predictions to close out the show. So, Nikki, give me your finals predictions.
I got the Mavs winning this in 6 because even though 6 or 7, because even though Boston on paper they are the better team statistically, we know Boston had the easier road to the finals. But then the Mavs have already stepped up in competition. They've beaten the Clippers, the Thunder, and the Timberwolves, whereas the Celtics they've won dominantly, but they've gone against injured teams. For the most part. So the Mavs already have the momentum in their favor for being able to go against top teams. So I just feel like that momentum carries over. Now, maybe Boston does win some home games because they do have home court advantage for the series, and that helps them out. But either way, I mean, this is going to be a tough finals. And we don't know. Boston is yet to really be tested under pressure in the playoffs. So what happens to them when they have the pressure put on them by the Mavs? How will they respond? How will Tatum respond under pressure?
Yeah.
How will Derek White respond under pressure against his toughest playoff opposition to date? Those are fair questions you got to ask about the Celtics. Time will tell, but I feel like as of now, even though on paper the Celtics are the favorites, Mavs have the advantage. I just think they're the better team and will come through as the winners.
Yep. Rios, who you got? I think I know where you're going, but who you got?
Well, I agree with some of what Nikki said. Boston really hasn't been tested. Their path to the finals reminds me a lot of the Warriors early on. They weren't really tested. they basically went against a team that got injured, and then when they got tested, they lost to the Cavaliers in 7 games. Because they had a pretty easy path to the finals that year. They lost to the Cavs. And I think with the Celtics, like Nikki said, they haven't been tested. They had basically a cakewalk to the finals. And then this Mavericks team is going to be their toughest test to date. And it's going to be a hard-fought series. It's going to be a lot of close games. But I'm going to go with Boston in 7. It's going to be – they have the better team. I think they find a way to overcome that pressure and put it all together and, finally win a finals in the first time in 16 years.
Yeah. So I really don't want Boston to win. I don't want that because all the Boston content creators were DM me and everything. So I don't want that. Give me Mavs, and I'm going in 6. I'm going Mavs in 6 because if it goes to 7, Boston's taking that. If it goes in 7, I feel like Boston's taking that. It comes down to who's the best player throughout the finals, and right now it is Luka. Luka is the best player in these finals, and then you can argue who's the second best player with Jaylen Brown, Tatum, or Kyrie. I would go Kyrie in that, but I am going with the Mavs in 6. So the Celtics can definitely win, but I just want the Mavericks to win. Yes, you're a Sixers content creator. We all know why. We all know why. If it's 6, if it's 7 in Boston, no, Mitch, and I agree. There you go. Put your hatred behind which team is better. Boston's the better team overall, but you got to go with the best player on the floor, and I feel like that's Luka and Kyrie. So, there you go. All right, guys. Really appreciate everybody. You know what? Really quick. Who do you think will be MVP in this finals? So, if you have Celtics winning, who's going to be your MVP? Who's going to be your MVP if the Mavs win? Whoever wants to take it.
I'll go first. If Boston wins, I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown as MVP.
There you go. I like that pick. Nikki?
I'd say Boston, Jaylen Brown. I feel like Derek White and Jaylen Brown would play the biggest roles, but I feel like if it's close enough to go either way, they'll give it to Jaylen Brown.
So, but you had the Mavs winning, right?
Right. I'm saying if Boston wins, that's where it would go in that direction.
So what about Boston? I mean, what about Dallas? You got Luka?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's pretty much a guarantee if they win it.
Actually, I'm going to go with Kyrie. I'm going to go with Kyrie if they win it just because of his clutch gene and just him stepping up when it matters most. They both can close out. But Kyrie has the more experience. You can argue about the experience because Luka, he was playing in the finals for Real Madrid, overseas, won championships with Real Madrid since he was 13? There's something going on from there. So, yep, really appreciate that. And, all right. So if you guys haven't hit the like and subscribe to all of our channels, really appreciate it. Shout out to Coach for hopping on. Shout out to Next Shift Randy for hopping on. Shout out to Blaze Radio for hanging through and being part of the chat, even though he's not feeling his best right now. Shout out to you, man. And great show, guys. Thank you for letting me run the chats. If it was fun, don't forget to hit the like button, everyone. Yep, that's a lot of money. Yes, sir. That's a lot of money. And really quick, if you guys haven't known, we're on Spotify again. The Hardcore Sports Network podcast is on Spotify. So make sure you follow us over there. This will be on Spotify right after the show. And remember, Full Court Press tomorrow with Coach Ed Glanny, Nick of Sleeper Sports Media, and Next Shift Randy. So if you guys want WNBA content, you know where to go. Every Thursday night at 7. Resign. No, we're not keeping Tobias Harris. Rio, you're going to love this guy. He's a huge Tobias Harris supporter.
Wow.
Right? Right? And he's a great guy, man. He's a great guy. But no! I thought you wanted him gone too. You know what? I'm ending this. Yeah. Damn. No, we're not doing that voice. Yep, MK Lounge tomorrow at 8 for the game. And then I'm going to stream video games tonight. Make sure you guys tune in. Now, and now. Damn. On that note, guys, make sure to hit the like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. I know you were joking, but still. And yeah, we're out. Peace, guys. Have a great night.